What's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL Bike, and I have a really interesting story for you today, and it has to do with Harley-Davidson. Harley-Davidson is actually pulling out of India. Very weird. We'll get into that in a little bit, but before I go there, I want to just give you a little bit of backstory. It's no secret, Harley's been struggling, and they've been struggling for a long time. They previously were working really hard on expanding internationally, expanding into new markets, and as far as sales in the US go, they've been relying really heavily on some of the bikes like that, what you see behind me. That's an electric glide. So something that's way bigger, meant for the highway, and honestly is more suited to an older demographic. In February, Harley actually ditched their CEO and they replaced him with a new CEO. His name is Jochen Zeitz. He was actually the CEO of Puma. He helped turn that brand around. So Harley's hoping that he can do the same thing with the motorcycle brand. Honestly, maybe a little bit of an apparel brand too, but they're hoping he can step in and turn the company around. Earlier this year, Harley announced a short-term plan to kind of turn the company around, and they called it the Rewire Plan. And to be honest, it hasn't been working that well. Harley sales plunged 27% from last year, and that's the steepest fall Harley sales have seen in 6 years, so that's not good. They also desperately need a younger customer base. Like I said, these bikes aren't selling to millennials, people like me. They really need some bikes that target the younger demographic, and I think they're doing a good job with that. They have the Livewire, which is their all-electric motorcycle. I actually had the chance to ride this in California last year, and it was a blast. I really had fun on it. That was the first Harley-Davidson I've ever ridden, and I had a blast. That's all I can say about it right now. They also have plans to come out with their new Bronx Street Fighter, which is right up my alley. I own a Yamaha MT-09, and that's definitely gonna compete with that bike. So kind of naked Street Fighter style. That's gonna be a pretty sweet bike. And then they have the Pan America too, which is kind of an adventure bike. It's gonna compete with the V-Stroms and the GS's and Multistradas, all these big adventure bikes. 3 brand new different types of bikes. They're all super different. They all cater to a different audience. And I think they're doing a really good job as far as that goes. So that's their Rewire Plan, and it's not working at all because about 2 months ago, they announced a new plan, which is now called the Hardwire. So they're really trying to ramp things up and turn the company around, and they need to do it pretty quickly. Let me walk you through what this Hardwire Plan entails. So first of all, Harley-Davidson says that through this new plan, there's going to be a 14% reduction in the total workforce at Harley-Davidson, which means that there's going to be a loss of about 700 jobs company-wide. They also want to refocus on their core products and really just have a laser focus on what sells well for them. So they're going to be cutting their model lineup by 30%. And the last one on there is they're going to be withdrawing from underperforming markets. And that's where India comes in. India is hands down the biggest market for motorcycles and scooters in the entire world. About 17 million motorcycles and scooters were sold there last year, which is about the same number of cars that were sold here in the US last year. So they're really big on bikes and scooters there, as I'm sure you know. And even though the market there is just absolutely massive for two-wheeled vehicles, Harley-Davidson is pulling out. So they announced today that they're going to be pulling out of India, and that's going to involve a $75 million restructure. They're going to be discontinuing not only sales, but also manufacturing in India. So they did have their Bawal plant. That's where they made some of the Sportsters, the Dynaline, the Softail, some of the Street 750 and 500s. So they're not going to be building any bikes there anymore, and they're not going to be selling them either. The new CEO is working on tapping back into the US market, which I think is really important. It's kind of interesting they're pulling out of such a massive market in India. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But as far as the US market goes, I like the bikes they're bringing here. I think they've got 3 really cool, unique bikes. 2 of them I haven't ridden yet. I'd really like to, but they're really starting to give the other manufacturers a run for their money, at least in terms of the bikes. Now, in terms of marketing, that's a little bit questionable. If you've been following Harley, you might have seen the Jason Momoa ads. They've been trying to work with some celebrities and influencers that kind of cater to the younger audience so that they can help sell these bikes. Again, with that, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. Indian Motorcycles, ever since they were acquired in 2011 by Polaris, they've been selling the same kind of bikes as Harley, but they've been doing a much better job at it. Ducati, also with their Scrambler brand, they've been selling a lot of bikes there. and Triumph is doing really well too, kind of selling the old retro style as well. So they're all a little bit different, but Harley-Davidson is definitely struggling. They're getting passed by all the other brands. Yes, motorcycling in general is going down. There's less and less riders, it seems to be, than there were in the past, but other brands are not falling nearly as hard as Harley. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Is this a smart move for Harley-Davidson pulling out of India? Do you think it's smart for them to come back to the US and really laser focus on the domestic market, or do you think they should be more of a global company? And also, let me know down in the comments below, is motorcycling hurting Harley, or is Harley hurting the sport of motorcycling? Really curious to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to go check out our other videos on the TFL Bike YouTube channel. Head over to TFL Car and TFL Truck for all the latest and greatest in automotive news, and we'll see you in the next one.